I'm old enough that I lived through the previous era of real inflation in the United States from 70 to 82. When I was a kid, my father owned a few Sonic drive-ins in Wichita, Kansas, and my Sunday morning job every week after Mass was to scrape prices off the menu boards with a razor blade and replace them with new higher prices. Every week, some items would creep up a nickel or two. As a consumer, during those times, inflation got so bad that it felt like if you got paid on a Friday, you needed to go cash that check ASAP and buy whatever you needed that same day because the price was going to go up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. In 1979, the New York Fed, Paul Volcker, implemented aggressive rate hikes, raising the federal funds rate from about 11% in 79 to 20% by June 81. These high rates persisted into 82, after which inflation was brought under control and rates were gradually lowered. Volcker's policy caused a deep recession in 81-82, but successfully reduced inflation from double-digit levels to under 4% by the mid-80s. Anyone who grew up during the next 40 years or so has not lived through a period of true inflation, which they're seeing right now. Exercise caution. Jerome Powell, serving as the chairman of the Fed Reserve since 2018, in response to rising inflation, increased the Fed funds rate multiple times between 2022 and 23, reaching a peak of 5.25%. Now it's quantitative tightening by reducing its balance sheet by allowing maturing securities to roll off without reinvestment, effectively decreasing the money supply. This process, known as quantitative tightening, was reintroduced in June 2022 to counter historically high inflation resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. As inflation showed signs of easing, the Fed began lowering interest rates cautiously. In September 24, a significant half percentage point cut was announced to maintain stability. By November, Powell indicated that further rate cuts would proceed slowly given persistent inflation. The halcyon days of automakers offering 0% financing, they're gone. These experiences teach you why it's always important to make sure all your loans are fixed rate ones. The people I know who got wiped out the worst during the inflationary periods always had floating interest rates on their debt. This is also not a time to be picking up extra toys. If it flies or floats or whatever, you don't buy it, you sell it, you rent it, you lease it. Take a good look at how you've been living. And maybe time to downsize that lifestyle to match what you see going on in the practice that funds that lifestyle. Earlier this year, for example, I realized I was an empty nester in a giant McMansion, so I sold it and downsized it to a much smaller place and love it. But don't panic just yet. Dental practices have been having problems finding good people to fill available positions. So take into account that if you consider reducing the size of your team, it's going to be hard to replace a lot of them. I've been saying forever that general dentists shouldn't rest their practices on a high volume, low margin model, and that's particularly true now. PPO reimbursements don't increase throughout the year just because the dentist costs to. So dentists who refer out high margin work, such as root canals and implants, are denying themselves the opportunity to earn more. At that point, if you're just doing general dentistry, why bother with the costs and stress related with an office? Go work at a DSO and save yourself all the grief. Conclusion. We don't know for sure what's going to happen next. Anyone who says they do is a palm reader. No one can predict the future. But now more than ever, it's time to reduce your cost and keep your cash. And please share your thoughts and suggestions for readers in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of Howard Speaks, please subscribe and like and share. I read all your comments below and appreciate you and your support. So take care, be good, and create a rocking great day.